In 1991, a Yale psychologist named Susan Nolen-Hoeksema published research that would quietly become one of the most cited findings in clinical psychology. She wasn't studying exhaustion, she was studying why some people stay depressed longer than others. What she found was a mechanism she called rumination, repetitive, recycling, passive focus on a problem without moving toward resolution. But here's what most people miss about her findings, and what most content about overthinking ignores entirely. Rumination isn't just a psychological problem, it's a physiological one. Constant overthinking heightens stress hormones like cortisol, which affects physical health over time, contributing to fatigue, headaches, and sleep disturbances. The name I use for this process is cognitive drain. The measurable depletion of physical and neurological resources caused not by what you do, but by what you can't stop thinking about. It's not a metaphor, it's a mechanism. The mistake most people make is treating this exhaustion like a motivation problem. Cognitive overload can produce a bone-deep fatigue that sleep doesn't fix. That's the part nobody warns you about. You can sleep 8 hours and still wake up depleted, because the depletion isn't coming from your body. It's coming from a brain that ran all night without you knowing it. The body often responds to prolonged cognitive strain the same way it responds to other stress. Muscle tension, irritability, sleep disruption, forgetfulness, and reduced patience. And because there is no obvious crisis, many people dismiss what they are feeling. That dismissal is the problem. You tell yourself you should be handling things better. You're not tired because you're weak. You're tired because you've been running a process your body was never designed to run indefinitely. If any of that landed, if you recognize that feeling of being tired without a reason you can point to, there's a tool I want to show you before we go further. It's called Daily Clarity Doors. It's a web app, and it's built for exactly what we're talking about. Most of the fatigue that comes from overthinking isn't caused by one big unresolved problem. It's caused by small decisions that never get closed. Choices you circle back to, questions you leave open, moments where you almost decided but didn't quite commit. Daily Clarity Doors has 4 functions. A daily log where you track the decisions you're actually facing. A decision scale that gives you a weighted breakdown of pros, cons, and whether you're genuinely navigating a real trade-off or just spinning in place. A weekly review that shows you patterns in your own hesitation, and a record of past decision, which matters more than it sounds because most overthinkers underestimate how much they've already handled. The link is in the description. Experience it for free. Cognitive drain doesn't look the same in every person. Based on the research on rumination, cortisol response, and cognitive load, there are 4 distinct patterns, and most overthinkers are dominated by one. Type 1, the loop drainer. Repetitive cycling through the same unresolved scenario, a conversation, a decision, a perceived failure, without reaching a conclusion. The brain registers this as an open threat, keeps cortisol elevated, and never fully disengages from the stress response. Example, you replay a meeting from 2 days ago. You've already analyzed what you said, what they might have meant, and what you should have done differently, at least 30 times. Nothing new enters the loop, but the loop keeps running. This is the most common form. It's also the most studied. It maps directly to what Nolen-Hoeksema's original research described. Type 2, the pre-exhausted. Mental simulation of a future event so thorough and prolonged that the nervous system treats the simulation as real. Cortisol rises in response to something that hasn't happened, and by the time the actual event arrives, the body has already run it twice. Example, a presentation is 2 weeks away. You've already rehearsed it in your head 40 times. You've already handled the hostile questions, the awkward silence, the moment someone doesn't laugh. When the day finally arrives, you're more drained than the presentation itself could ever make you. Type 3, the silent loader, cognitive load accumulated through sustained low-level vigilance. Not dramatic worry, but the background processing of social inputs, unfinished decisions, and unspoken things. The mind never fully powers down. The fatigue is invisible because there's no identifiable stressor. Just a constant hum of processing that never resolves. Example, you're fine all day. Nothing went wrong. But by 7 p.m. you can't read, can't decide what to eat, and feel vaguely resentful for reasons you can't name. Nothing happened. You've just been quietly running in the background for 12 hours. Type 4. The avoidance amplifier. The attempt to suppress or escape rumination through distraction, scrolling, withdrawing, which paradoxically increases cognitive load because suppression itself requires mental effort. People who ruminate may seek to escape from aversive self-focus by suppressing negative feelings cognitively or by engaging in behaviors to avoid self-awareness. The escape becomes its own drain. Example, you open your phone to stop thinking about something. 30 minutes later, you feel worse. Not because of anything you saw, but because your brain ran two processes simultaneously. The thing you were avoiding and the effort of not thinking about it. One question per type. Answer honestly. For the loop drainer, is there a specific event from the past week, a conversation, a moment, a decision that you've returned to more than 5 times without reaching a new conclusion? For the pre-exhausted, have you felt drained by something before it happened? More tired in anticipation than you were after the actual thing? For the silent loader, at the end of a day where nothing difficult happened, do you regularly feel more depleted than you can explain? For the avoidance amplifier, when you try to stop thinking about something, do you notice yourself feeling worse? Not from the thought, but from the effort of not having it? Most people recognize themselves in more than one, but there's usually a dominant pattern. That's the one worth addressing first. If you recognize yourself in any of the 4 types today, that one will hit harder. The link to Daily Clarity Doors is in the description. Knowing your type closes one question, but it opens another. Because even when you understand why you're exhausted, there's still the moment you turn to someone for reassurance. And it doesn't help. Not really. You feel better for an hour, maybe a day, and then the same question comes back. That's not a relationship problem. That's a different mechanism entirely. And it's what the next video is about.